Alright, so I saw this tweet. It's on the University of Alabama, Birmingham Twitter account. Department of Family and Community Medicine, UAB. Our department wishes Beverly Vonder Pool MD all the best in her retirement. Dr. Vonder Pool is retiring after a 40-year career in family medicine. Alright, so I never had any interaction with this doctor, but her signature appeared on the bottom of my medical records in 2019, and this was from the Christ Health Center, Christ Health, Birmingham, Alabama. This is a community health clinic, and I was referred there after an emergency department visit at Ascension St. Vincent's East Hospital, Birmingham, Alabama, after a 2018 visit. Yeah, and I thought that I'd broken my neck. You know, many of these visits I was given some sort of scan, either x-ray, CT scan, and I was told that I had no injury in this area. You can see all the details about what happened to me. I've got over 10 hours of video documentation on my YouTube channel, and that's My Medical Nightmare. I went back there April 22nd, 2019. This is St. Vincent's East Ascension Emergency Department. And I had a computed tomography scan of my head, brain, and the cervical area of my neck. And I'll put up the CT images and the reports from the radiologist who also looked at these images. So yeah, on the left you'll see the report and no injury is noted. On the right there's something a little bit different. This is very serious head trauma. And I've got a crack in the basilar area of my skull in the bone. It's several inches long. And because I was misdiagnosed in 2018, this injury complicated and became worse over time. It became infected. I believe I had a CSF leak. The fluid in my brain leaked out into this wound. This drew out some kind of parasite issue, I believe. I really have no idea because the doctors I went to have this thing looked at, they weren't honest with me. Got to Community Health Clinic, Christ Health, Chalkville, and then I later went to the Woodlawn location as well. I saw Dr. Terry Daniel Smith, MD, and now he goes by the name T. Daniel Smith at Andrew Sports Medicine, St. Vincent's Hospital, Ascension, downtown Birmingham on the south side. This doctor, when I tried to explain my symptomology, he did not act like he believed me, and I felt I was not treated as a human being in this visit as well. I told him I needed an MRI for this injury area. He told me that he wouldn't give me an MRI scan unless I agreed to a number of other medical tests and procedures first. And yeah, I got a real bad feeling in this place. And I ended up walking out of there. Later on, I received this bill from Christ Health Center, Inc. And on this bill, I was charged $7 for a hemoglobin blood test and $43 for an electrocardiogram. And I was not given either of these tests. So I was charged for services not rendered. And later on, I got my records from this visit. And Dr. T. Daniel Smith, he mentions here, labs below not able to be performed. Would start with these if he returns. So he admits here in the records that he prescribed these tests and procedures that also I was billed for. But was not given these tests. Encounter reviewed and signed by Beverly Vonder Pool MD. Dr. Smith also notes under discussion notes, PT plan of care reviewed, discussed with resident, and agree with above AP and findings. Patient left without labs. Yeah, in these Christ Health Center visits, I saw Dr. Terry Daniel Smith, MD, and Nurse Anna Musgraves, NP, on different dates and at different branches of Christ Health Center, Inc., Birmingham, Alabama. I was charged the same amount, almost, to see the nurse practitioner as I was to see the MD. Yeah, it charged $107 to see the nurse, charged $109 to see the doctor. My experience with Christ Health Center, I was referred here because I didn't have insurance or a job or an admitted a source of income at the Ascension St. Vincent's East Emergency Department. And yeah, it's a community health clinic. You go to this place, both locations. The lobby, it's full of observably low-income patients. The people that go there, they don't have money. They're indigents. And yeah, I believe that my experience dealing with Ascension St. Vincent's East is I may have been patient dumped from this hospital because I couldn't provide insurance or a statement of income. Yeah, I think two things are going on at the Christ Health Center. Dump patients, such as myself, indigent patients, they're referred to Christ Health Center. So they wind up there. And then the other thing that I've observed was this is a training facility for new and upcoming talent fresh out of medical school. They're trained and they get experience hands-on with patients in medical situations in this Christ Health facility. The doctors and nurses who observe the ways and means and very standard operating procedure, they may move up and get a job elsewhere. And they also learn how St. Vincent's Ascension does business. And my experience is they do business in the wrong way. You want to know what I'm talking about? Please go to my YouTube channel, My Medical Nightmare, and I got 10 hours documentation. Please watch those videos. They're later hired by the larger hospitals in the area. I did some research on Christ Health, and yet I believe that there are some close affiliations and ties with Ascension and St. Vincent's Hospital in Birmingham, Alabama. When I got my records from Christ Health Center, they also had included records they pulled from Ascension St. Vincent's East Hospital for my emergency room visit. And it says right here, CT head or brain without contrast. This document has an image. Okay, so in this records pool that I made, I was not given a copy of these images. However, this is from the April 22nd CT scan. Okay. However, when I went and got these CT image records from the hospital itself, these images showed up. Okay. So these are the images that were for some reason not included in this record pool. And yeah, if you note what's in the yellow circle here, there appears to be bone damage in the basal area of my skull. And this is in the area of the occipital condyle and condylar canal. And I think I had a pebble-sized piece of bone that broke off the underside of my skull. Very serious injury. And according to the radiologist report, I had no injuries present in this scan. It was not true. So yeah, following these May 2019 visits, I was slowly dying. My health was going in decline. So I had to get this MRI. The later visit with Nurse Anna Musgraves, she told me that I needed an MRI and to call her at the Christ Health Center, and she would give me a referral for the MRI scan. So just a few days later, I had to pay out of pocket. This was American Health Imaging in Birmingham, Alabama. $500 cash, and I got an MRI scan without contrast. After I paid the money, they told me I needed a referral. So I called Christ Health Center and Anna Musgrave at the American Health Imaging office, and I had their people try to get the referral. They were put on hold for 15 minutes, and then after 15 minutes, Christ Health Center, they hung up the phone. So it looks like they were not going to help me get that MRI scan. From the Anna Musgrave visit, so she mentions here that some kind of psych etiology should be considered for my condition. Although, if you take a look at some of these CT scans and MRIs, I think you'll clearly see that my issue, it was not psychological in nature, but it was physical. Indigent patients with medical conditions, they're among the most vulnerable people in society, okay? And you send them to these community health clinics looking for medical assistance. They're slapped with psychological diagnoses, possibly for physical problems. Yeah, you're harming these people. You're taking something from them, okay? And this can affect me later on when I try to go get health care elsewhere. So Dr. Beverly Vonder Pool, I believe that she was used as a fixer in Christ Health Center. Fixer or possibly a closer. Because, my experience with Ascension St. Vincent's is the doctors would go and they would get other doctors to sign off and back up some of these erroneous opinions that were coming out, to add strength to their arguments. And I think Dr. Vonder Pool was also used in this way. And she may also have been some kind of talent scout. Her work history indicates that she had some experience with St. Vincent's Ascension in the past. So she may be aware of the types of doctors and nurses that they're looking for. I took the images of my broken skull and my records, and I tried to go back to both Christ Health Center locations around Birmingham, Alabama. And I wanted to show my pictures to these doctors and nurses that I saw, and did not find it necessary that I needed the MRI scans. And it also made these assertions that my injury was possibly psychological in nature. All right, but they would not see me. I got up to the front desk in the lobby, and I was told by their staff that Christ Health Center did not look at such images. So I made Christ Health Center aware of my situation almost as soon as possible in 2019, and then since then they're well aware of my case, all the stuff that happened to me. And I've never been contacted by this place, never been contacted by their doctors, never been contacted by their nurses. They never offered an apology. And I've got issues outstanding, unresolved, cash out of pocket that I didn't have. And I have basically no services from this Christ Health Center. I went back and got all my records and tried to piece together what had happened to me. I think most patients that go to these places, they're not so fortunate. They don't have time to do this. They don't have the skills necessary to assemble this kind of stuff. Please look at my example. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that there were some patients that went to these places that were not so fortunate.